Going from this to this. But you know, easy. Hey, and welcome to Making FX. I've been at this, 20 plus years, and I'm still learning. And I'm a magpie. I look around for anything new and shiny, and then I try to figure out how to generify it. For instance, if YouTube starts showing me quick hacks to improve my final shot, then I'm going to note all the tips and create a project file containing them all so that I can easily drop my video into a template. A sort of good artist copy, great artist steal kind of thing. And that's what I'm sharing today. Also, I know I'm using words like hack and cheat, but that's just for clickbait. If the shot looks good, who cares how you got there? So here's my template. The idea here is to have all the effects that can improve a shot all in one place, rather than being a fixed you must use everything approach. And it's set up to assume you have an isolated foreground element and background. And you can either copy your shot into this comp or copy the different layers into your comp. Here's a shot I used in the Teaching AE series where I showed my wife how to animate a still image. Unlike the space scene at the start of this video, this one is in daylight, so it's a good way of demonstrating a different approach. I've dropped the camera, foreground and background layer into the template. And I'll place the background layer just above the background placeholder, which I no longer need, so that can be deleted. And I'll move the foreground layers down to the foreground placeholder and delete that layer too. From the bottom of the timeline up, the first layer is an adjustment layer, called background blur. And it's got a simple fast box blur effect set to only 1 pixel. For this particular shot, the original photo was already blurred, so it isn't doing anything really. Next, we have a solid called vignette, and it's a black solid with an elliptical mask. And this is an HD comp, and the feathering of the mask is set to 120. And it's set to subtract. I used to always add a vignette to the top of the comp, but actually, applying it to the background makes a lot more sense. It keeps the viewer's eye on the subject more. And this solid is set to 55% opacity, and its transfer mode is set to classic color burn. But if this is a little too heavy, try a different transfer mode. Hold down Shift and tap minus or equals keys. And Ctrl plus Shift plus Alt and tapping V toggles the layer's visibility. If you use this a lot, you can change the shortcut in the keyboard shortcuts menu. Just before I mention the next set of effects, which is currently my favourite effect, please can I ask a favour? Clicking like really does help the YouTube algorithm know that this video is worth showing to others, and clicking subscribe helps me build an audience. Thank you, and I promise I'll do more fun jokes about subscribing in the next set of videos. So, my current favourite effect is the layer above foreground called Light Glow Wrap. And this layer has an awesome preset I found years ago called Explosion Glow. I didn't make a note of who created it at the time, but it's really effective when you have a light source like an explosion behind your foreground layer. You can't see it particularly well here, so let's switch over to this comp from the start. Same template, but this time I have a rocky version of my logo, a planet and a galaxy in the background. And that background blur adjustment layer does make a difference here, to help focus on the asteroid. The light wrap layer is an adjustment layer, and I'll reset its transfer mode and track matte for the moment to show you what it's doing. First off, a Luma key removes the brightest parts of the image. Then the invert effect swaps the alpha, so we're left with just the brightest parts. Solid composite fills in the transparent elements so we have a solid black background, and glow gives us this bleed. If I now set the track matte to our foreground layer, we only have the effects being applied to the shape of the foreground. And if I turn this layer back on, you'll see we get this blurring which corresponds to the brightest parts of the image. And setting the adjustment layer back to screen, we get to see the foreground subject again. But for our squirrel, we don't have a bright background light, so I'll just turn this layer off. The next layer is optics compensation. And this is another adjustment layer, and it has the optics compensation effect. Set to 15 with a reverse lens distortion. It creates a subtle curvature which is very in vogue at the moment to simulate lens distortion in CG shots. Next up is the OG hack, lens flare. but I'm keeping the flare center well outside the comp, so that we only get a light leak effect. And in the template, this is applied to a black square solid with a transfer mode set to screen. I did that for shots like this one, where the camera is rotating, which means the light leak needs to move with its source. In my videos, I'm using Video Copilot's optical flares, but for the template I've used the included lens flare, and it just helps to suggest that there's a light source just off to the side of the camera. Above this layer is another adjustment layer, and rather have loads of separate adjustment layers, I've stacked this one with several effects. The first being Lumetri color. And look at how much the shot changes when I pick a different preset from the creative section. So this will be one of those places you'll change depending on the shot you're working on, but you can see it's worth it for solving lots of problems quickly. What I love about Lumetri color is how much it takes the guesswork out of crushing the blacks with curves. These presets get me 99% of the way there, and if it's too strong, I can just adjust the intensity. The second effect on this layer is a tip I got from School of Motion, and their tip was about using Noise HLS Auto to add grain. It's really hard to show in a still or even moving image, but it's mimicking the sort of noise you get from recording on an actual camera. And as School of Motion point out, the render times with this effect are much smaller than the included grain effects. Finally for here, we have Plugin Everything's free, quick chromatic aberration. Like lens flares in the 90s and light rays in the aughts, chromatic aberration is one of those very trendy, overused effects designed to mimic the result of a camera's colour sensors not lining up properly. When used subtly though, like here, with a 1 pixel difference, it works quite well. Next up is the second tip from School of Motion, camera lens blur, and the blur is controlled through a gradient ramp. The blur will only be applied to the white parts of the gradient, which has a levels effect to make the gradient more extreme. If you do copy these layers into your own comp, make sure to repoint the blur map to the gradient ramp layer. And you can see the result. If it's too strong, you can either drop the opacity of the adjustment layer or alter the blur radius. Like I said at the start, this After Effects project is not a you must use all these elements type of template. It's intended to save you time and help elevate your shots without having to remember all the different ways you can do so. If you have any other useful hacks or want to show off how you've used this, please post in the comments below, especially if this has helped you.